Hi everyone, welcome to Simply Ann. This is my first video done back in Oregon since we moved back very recently. And here is my card. It is a pink and teal card using some really special products. We have heat resistant acetate, some really sparkly embossing powders, and some Color Me papers. So please stay tuned and we will get to work making this card. Today I'm going to be using this sheet of 12 by 12 double dipped Color Me paper, and this is the butterfly sheet. You can buy these singly or you can buy it in a variety pack. I'm also going to be using the heat resistant acetate from Hot Off the Press. Comes in a pack of 5. The Kindred Spirits stamps, some really lovely large flower focals on there, and 2 different glittery embossing powders, and these are called Wow Embossing Powder, and this one is Pink Fizz and Totally Teal. So let's get started. So the first thing I've done is cut my piece of my page that I'm going to use. I just used the top right corner, and I cut it to the exact size of my card front, which is 6.5 inches tall by 5 inches wide. So that's going to be, once it's done being colored, it's going to be glued on the front of the card. I have just a piece of scrap paper underneath, and I'm going to take a cosmetic sponge and an ink pad. This is Dark Peony Colorbox Fluid Chalk ink pad, and I'm just gonna go ahead and color in my Color Me paper with the ink, starting with the butterfly here. And it's kind of like magic how easy this is, just rubbing on the ink in the areas that you want it to be. So I'm going to kind of make a 2-color card here. It's going to be the Dark Peony, and then I'm going to come in with the second color after I do some areas with the pink. So I'll continue doing this and I will be back when it's finished. Now that I've done most of the pink areas I want, I'm coming in with this color. Is called Arctic Deep, and it's a nice teal color. And as you can see, I've chosen colors that are going to complement those embossing powder colors, the pink and the teal. So I'm going to come in with the teal and I'll fill in all the areas and kind of blend it a little bit at the edges with the pink. And I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I'm done coloring this, I'm just going to come in with a very slightly damp paper towel on top of the embossed areas and just really lightly just rub off the excess ink that has landed on those areas, so it really brightens up the image, the embossed image here. There we go. Very pretty. Okay, so that is now ready for the card. Okay, so I have my blank white card here. It's 6.5 inches tall by 5 inches wide, the fold on the left side. And I've cut my heat resistant acetate to that size plus a 1/2 inch on this left edge, which is going to go around the fold and attach on the back. So I've got that scored, so what I've done is just take my ruler and then take the back of my X-Acto knife and just kind of score or scratch the surface of the acetate, and that will allow you to make a really nice sharp fold. So there we go, and that's going to be attached to the back of the card front. So we're going to have this piece be under the acetate. This will be on the card front, acetate on top, and I'm going to now emboss some images along the bottom of the acetate with the Kindred Spirits stamps. Some tips for embossing, heat embossing on the heat resistant acetate. I'm told to rinse the acetate in water. You can try maybe a light soap and water, or just rinse in water. The reason for that being to kind of eliminate the static clinginess of this acetate, because it does kind of make your embossing powder stick to pretty much everything instead of just your stamped image. So what I'm going to do is rinse this in water, blot it in the paper towel dry, and immediately after use this stamp with my Versamark ink pad and stamp it on and heat emboss, and we'll see how that turns out. So here I have the embossing powder sprinkled on that stamped image, and as you can see, it's a pretty clear image and the embossing powder hasn't strayed too much, so the water trick did work, so that's great. So we're going to take an embossing heat gun here and melt this embossing powder, but as you'll see, the acetate will not be affected. Alright, so here is your embossed piece. I did make it go over the fold a little bit because I want it to go off the card a tiny bit. So once you see this on top of this piece, look how pretty that is. And I'm not going to stop there. I want to fill this in actually with the pink fizz embossing powder. And I wanted to show you, this is the front and then this is the back, so it has a little bit different look. But the cool thing is you could even emboss on the back of the acetate and kind of put it on your card that way, and you'll have a totally different look. But I'm going to use the front, and I'm going to use this stamp in the pink, and as you can see, it's designed to go perfectly inside this. So I'm going to try my best to line it up and do the pink on that part. Look how beautiful that is. Now I also put in a little center, which is this stamp on the set. So I've used 3 stamps, the large in the teal, this one in the pink, and this one in the teal. So you can see the result is pretty outstanding, and this layered on top of this is going to look great too. So I'm going to go ahead and put the card together. So I almost forgot I had to add a greeting. So "You're So Special" is on there in the pink fizz embossing powder, and that is right here on the stamp sheet. So now I'm going to put the card together. So I've lined up my acetate with my card like this, and the score line is right along the fold. So what I've done on the back of this card is I've just evenly spaced some zots. These are small zots. You could also use just one long strip of zips or some ultra tape, which is also available on paperwishes.com. So I'm going to go ahead and make my crease on my acetate really nice and sharp. And if it breaks the embossing part, that's just fine. That's going to be on the back of the card. I'm just going along with the edge of my fingernail to sharpen that crease. Okay. Then just making sure everything's lined up as I would like it. On the back, here I am pressing down that acetate to my zots that are on here. And they're just spaced about an inch, inch and a quarter apart. Just enough to hold that on. Alright, so here it is. It's got kind of a dimensional look to it because the acetate brings this forward, and it's nice and shiny from the front, and then you get 2 layers of the front and then the inside for your greeting. Alright, so we are done. Please stay tuned for this week's bundle. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you again next week. In today's bundle, we have both of the Totally Teal and the Pink Fizz Wow Glitter Embossing Powders. And you're going to get the Kindred Spirit stamps. There are 20 on this sheet of stamps, and they're really neat for layering with different colors of ink. As you can see, these have some similar flower shapes on them in different sizes. Here's a really beautiful project idea on the back. And also in the bundle we have the heat resistant acetate. And it's really cool because it won't warp or curl when you're embossing it, as it says on here. And you can even use it with embossing folders. So it comes in a pack of 5, 8.5 by 11 sheets. And then we have, of course, this is a single sheet of the 12 by 12 double dipped butterfly color me paper. And that's a really long name, but it has a really beautiful look once you color this sheet. So thank you so much for watching this week's video, and I look forward to doing more videos for you next week. Have a great day.